Hello my beautiful friends. Today I am so excited to be filming my August reading wrap up. I had a really good reading month overall in August. Some fun vlogs which I'll link throughout as I talk about them, and we're just gonna go ahead and get into it. I have a cozy mystery section and a mystery thriller section. I will have those divided in chapters in case you want to jump around. Let's go ahead and start with our cozy mystery. I had quite a good month with cozy mysteries. I have some I checked out from the library, I have some here. I have quite a few in audiobook and some ebook arcs I also read. So let's go ahead and dive into cozy. So the first one I did was Murder in the Margins by Margaret Loudon. So this is actually my July Patreon book club pick. We had our book club on August 1st and I technically finished it that morning. This is the book here. I checked it out from my library and this one was really good. Our main character is an American Gothic writer named Penelope. She has moved overseas to England, the small like kind of countryside English town. So she's working at this bookshop and hoping to shake loose some writer's block that she's going through. And she gets close to the bookshop owner. There's a murder that happens and this woman named Charlotte, who's actually an American romance writer, and she's engaged to be the future Duchess of Worthington, is accused of it because there's some stigma against Americans or just outsiders in general because it's a small town. So that's kind of the general premise for this one. How cute is this? I love the style of illustration here. This was really good. I really enjoyed this. I think it gave us like 4.5 stars. And I actually listened to A Fatal Footnote, which is book 2 in the series, and I think I enjoyed that one even more. That one was a 5-star read for me. I really enjoyed that. I'm really excited to have found a new author. And speaking of, this author also writes as Peg Cochran, and our book club pick for August ended up being Buried Secrets, which is the first in the Cranberry Farm mystery series. I'm sorry, the Cranberry Cove mystery series. And this one I think is my favorite though. This one was a true 5-star. Monica is our main character. She moves back to her family's Cranberry Cove cranberry farm, which, did you guys know that cranberries grew in bogs? Like, am I the only person who had no idea? I mean, I grew up in Arizona. We don't exactly have bogs here. I had no idea. So the whole cranberry harvesting process for this fascinated me. I was completely enthralled. This does take place in the fall, which was lovely. Monica moves back. She has there's so many great subplots in this. The mystery was phenomenal, really riveting. I was able to piece together who done it, like the motive and everything was like, wow. Okay, we're not like holding back. I really like her brother Jeff and then her stepmom. Her stepmom Gina comes back and she's about 10 years older than Monica because her father had remarried to a younger woman. There's a little bit of animosity there. Gina's supposed to be a little bit of a thorn in her side, but I think they're gonna have a burgeoning friendship. I loved them. They had such a natural comedic duo like energy because Gina's very extroverted and out there and a bit flirty and just very loud, you know, bold in the way she dresses and acts, whereas Monica's more reserved, very happy in her like little bubble, which I can relate to. I can really relate to. I loved them. I love this. So this was a new month for me with this author as a whole. They write under a couple pen names, but these are the 2 main ones. I would recommend both of these series. I thought they were great. I plan on continuing both of these series. Yeah, I can't say enough good things. I enjoyed all 3 of the books that I read by this author. I finally got my hands on this through my library, The Busybody Book Club by Freya Sampson. You guys know I love Freya Sampson. This didn't disappoint. Did it live up to Nosy Neighbors or The Last Chance Library? Not quite. I think this is more of a 4-star read for me. Those were 5-star reads. But it's still worth a read and it was still really great. So you actually get to read from multiple perspectives in this. This is the book club. There's like a community center that Nova works at. She's a young woman, she's engaged, she's preparing for her wedding, getting some wedding jitters and nerves at this community center. And unfortunately, a huge sum of money is stolen during their book club meeting, and one of the book club members is suspected of the thievery and they get involved. So they're trying to prove the innocence of the book club member who has disappeared. Then Phyllis, oh, I love Phyllis so much. Phyllis is this older woman. She is on the lonelier side, but she does have a bulldog, an English bulldog, which I loved so much. I loved the development with her. I loved Phyllis. I loved her so much. She is Agatha Christie, like Miss Marple to a T. She like basically asks herself like, what would Miss Marple do, is how she lives her life, and I love that. The backstory that Freya Sampson developed with her, I loved it so much. There were many memorable members, that's a tongue twister, in this book club, but Phyllis just stole my heart. I loved each of the storylines with each of the characters. The mystery was really good. I was able to piece some of it together, but it was just such a good one. If you like found family, if you're looking for something cozy and heartwarming and like found family with a good mystery, this one's really good. I really love this. Freya Sampson is like one of my ultimate found family writers. I love her writing so much. I finally finished Savvy Summers and the Sweet Potato Crimes by Sandra Jackson Opaku. This was on an ebook that I had. My only regret is not finishing this earlier. I started this I think in July or something. I had an ARC reading vlog and it was just the one book I just couldn't get to in time to finish the vlog, and then I got distracted with other TBRs and it took me a while to get back to it. Oh my gosh, I love Savvy Summers so incredibly much. This actually is a fall cozy as well. There's a bit of Halloween fun, but I would say it heavily focuses into Thanksgiving leading up to Christmas. So this is a very fun, cozy pick for this time of year. Savvy Summers, aka Sapphire, that's what her full name is, which I love. But Savvy Summers is the proprietor and owner of Essie's Soul Food Cafe. I want sweet potato pie so badly. I've never had a sweet potato pie, and I need to change that. I need to change that, clearly. I'm not living life as it should be because of the sweet potato pie description. Oh. So she's running this very classic cozy mystery setup where someone dies in her shop after eating her food, and this leads to her trying to solve it and clear her name and her business's name because some people are nervous about eating at her establishment. I love Savvy. She has so much fire and spunk and wit and wisdom. I love her. She's a bit of an older sleuth. I want to say she's about 60, somewhere around there. She is amazing. She's got some great subplots going on. She's got some interesting romantic backstories that I thought were really interesting. I liked her assistant employee, Penny. I thought she was an interesting character. The mystery and the confrontation at the end of this, it's top notch. It was so good. I ended up reading this part ebook, part on audio, and the narration was amazing. The southern accent. Oh. My only regret is I didn't finish this book sooner. That's literally all I want, is another release in this series. So please tell me there's going to be more, because this one just came out in July. So I'm really hoping it will be continued because I love Savvy and I want to know what else is going to happen with her. A slight warning for a little bit more cursing and innuendo than your average cozy. It didn't bother me. It didn't affect my reading experience clearly, but just in case that is something you don't want to read, keep that in mind. The Bread Rolls by Sarah Fox. This is one I listened to on audio. It is the second in the Pancake House mystery series. I had a good time with this. So the main character in this is Marley. She's taken over her uncle's pancake house, which is like a breakfasty kind of diner situation, and there's this busybody in town named Ida who ends up murdered. A lot of people didn't like her, including Marley, because she suspected Ida of doing some things to kind of sabotage her, and she gets involved in the mystery. The mystery was solid, very interesting, it kept me going. It went in a direction I completely didn't expect, and I really enjoyed it. So definitely one I recommend. I really enjoy Sarah Fox's writing as a whole. Icing on the Murder by Valerie Burns. This is the latest in the Baker Street mystery series. I loved this. I do think if you jump into this book without reading the others, you'll feel a little let down because it's more heavily focused on some of the character subplots coming to fruition. This is, I think, book 5 in the series, so definitely read them in order. But this one involves Maddie going to this wedding expo. She's very excited. She's entered this like raffle competition to win a like wedding planned by this famous wedding planner that she's very excited about. This has a lot of millennial like kind of influencer social media humor because Maddie has a background in that. There is Baby, which is her giant mastiff who she inherited from her great aunt Octavia, along with Baby Cakes, which is the bakery that she works at. So this is both like a bakery, millennial, dog heavy, cozy. This one focuses of course heavily into the wedding, and of course something happens at the expo. Someone is murdered. Maddie gets involved. I really like her relationship with April, who is both her best friend, maid of honor, and the sheriff in town. I love it. I feel like if you're, if you're looking for one where the character's not constantly scolded for interfering, this is one where April kind of lets things slide a little bit, or even asks Maddie for some, asks her for a little context on social things sometimes. So I really loved this. It was good. I'd say 4 stars. It was solid. Not my favorite from the series, but definitely a strong read, and I'm looking forward to continuing. Real Murders by Charlene Harris. So I discovered this is part of the Aurora Teagarden mystery series. I'm actually hoping to watch this, the Hallmark adaptation of this, from my library. I'm really excited. I listened to this one on audio. This one went there. So Aurora Teagarden, this has a very interesting premise. She and this group of individuals all from different like backgrounds and interests, get together to discuss cold cases and different like crime related things. That's their club. So very interesting premise, and one night they're discussing this, and the case that they were going to be discussing is kind of acted out. Like someone's murdered in a very similar way, which is very eerie. This cozy mystery, it went hard. It went hard. It was definitely slightly more graphic than your average cozy, but the ending and everything, I was like, wow, okay. I mean, the ending, the conclusion, the mystery for this was really strong. I don't know if I felt head over heels for Aurora as a character. I didn't dislike her, but like if you asked me to like describe her right now, I'd have a hard time describing her specifically. But in terms of the plot for this plot line just kept me going. I found all the details about the crime club very interesting, even though the local police were not a fan of that. I found her sleuthing very good, and just the ending, wow. I mean, that ending blew me away. So I'm definitely very excited to watch the Hallmark adaptation. I've been told it's pretty good, and I will be continuing the series. I also read an arc for Murder on the Books by T.C. Lotempio. This was in my arc reading vlog. I'll link it above. This one came out in July, I think, so I'm a little late. But it was really good. It was solid. Lots of cat, bookish themes with this one. Our main character is a writer, but she's taking a break, and she's actually helping her friend by taking over this bookstore part, because it's like I think it's like a dual cafe bakery bookshop, and the person who's supposed to be running the bookshop flakes out on her. And of course the body is then found in this building that they are trying to like start a business in, which of course really slows things down. I liked it. I don't think it was my favorite by T.C. Lotempio. I think that still goes to the Tiffany Austin food blogger series, but it was still really fun. I'm looking forward to more from it. Lethal Letters by Ellery Adams. So I actually have not read the earlier books in this series. I dived into this one. This is a Books by the Bay mystery. I think this is like book 6 in the series. Yeah, this is book 6. So I dived into this kind of head first, and I'm glad I did because it was really good. So our main character in this is Olivia, and she is a writer and restaurateur, and this takes place in Oyster Bay, North Carolina, so a very fun seaside setting. There are 2 upcoming weddings, and a time capsule is found in a church, and then a murder happens when a body is found under the pier. And wow, this is just one of those mysteries where there were just so many things going on, so many like mysteries within a mystery, but it all came together and it was really satisfying. I thought this was fascinating. I thought the way everything was carried out and explained in this was fascinating. I thought her sleuthing was really solid. I love her dog. I'm trying to remember. I think it was Haviland. But her dog, definitely, this was a really dog heavy cozy. If you enjoy a dog like sidekick, this dog is definitely involved, which I really liked. I thought, I mean, the title, Lethal Letters, you can guess there are some letters involved in this. This was good. This was really good. So I'm definitely inspired to go back and read book 1. I feel like I missed out a little bit on some of the other subplots in the story, but overall really enjoyed this. Through the Grinder by Cleo Coyle. This was a fall cozy mystery from the Coffee House Mystery series. I'm really enjoying this. I did a tea and coffee cozy mystery recommendations video recently, and I'll link that above. This was on the list, and this is just really fun. Our main character Claire manages the Village Blend, which is a coffee house. It's in, I think it's in New York, so it's a big city setting, but it feels very intimate with this coffee community, and everything's going well. Business is booming, fall is great, until a bunch of our female customers start to die, and it's very mysterious, and Lieutenant Quinn kind of gets involved, and he's trying to find the connections. This was a good mystery. This one went hard. Again, I really enjoyed the coffee details. I liked Claire as a character. I like that she has an adult daughter. I feel like we don't see that as much in cozies, which I really liked. That she has like an adult daughter who's very involved. So I thought that was fun. I liked Joy a lot. And I thought this was a really good cozy. I'm definitely planning on trying to listen to A Latte Trouble soon, which is book 3, and it also takes place in the fall. So great time of year to get into this series. Nothing's cozier than a cup of like coffee or tea, whatever your favorite like warm beverage is. Speaking of. So I would say Claire as a character and the plotline for this are what stood out to me the most. You actually got to read snippets from the killer's perspective, which I thought was very interesting. I haven't seen that done often in cozy mysteries. I feel like it's done more often in like thrillers or darker mysteries, but I thought it was done really well and added a lot of tension and suspense, at least in my experience. And I did really enjoy the narrator for this series, so I'm looking forward to continuing a lot. If you have an Audible membership, a ton of the Coffee House mystery series is currently included, so I'm going to try to power listen to some of those over the next few months. Another most anticipated release that I finally got my hands on is Vera Wong's Guide to Snooping on a Dead Man by Jessie Q. Sutanto. My library hold finally came through. I loved this just as much as book one. I was a little nervous going into this because I adored the first book in this series. It was one of my favorite reads, I mean, just of all time, honestly, but it was one of my favorite reads ever last year. I loved it so much. So I've been very much looking forward to the sequel, and this didn't disappoint. Vera Wong is an elderly Chinese mother, and who better than her, according to her, to solve mysteries. And in this one, she is bringing it because she's like, I'm an intermediate private investigator at this point because she's already solved a mystery in the first book. And in this one, she meets this woman named Millie who is looking for her friend, and then she actually, I think, is pet sitting for her son and her son's girlfriend. They live together, and the girlfriend happens to be the sheriff, and she snoops through the sheriff's files and she finds a picture of the young man, but his name is different. So the question is, who was this person? And similar to the first book, this one is very heavy in the found family, delicious foods. Vera Wong runs a tea shop. We have some great tea scenes, and she goes around talking to all the different suspects and kind of adopting them into her found family. It is the most endearing cozy mystery series. I love Jessie Q. Sutanto's writing. I cannot wait for more. I'm hoping there's more Vera Wong. Please give me more Vera Wong. But yeah, absolutely a 5-star read if you couldn't tell from me. It was a very good month for cozy mysteries. I had very few that I didn't love when I'm like looking at the pile. Thrillers, on the other hand, this month was a little rough, but this was phenomenal. I'm so glad I finally got to read this. I just love Vera Wong. I'm really hoping we get more of her. Like, please come out with another book in this series. I love it so much. Just the writing, it is so humorous and funny, and it pokes fun in everyday life, and you do get to read from different people's perspectives in this. It is primarily told from Vera's perspective, but you get to read from some of the suspects and found family people's perspectives, which is really interesting as well. And they all kind of have their own secret about Xander, who may not even be Xander because they don't know who this person is. Like, he's going by a bunch of names apparently. So loved that. Very much recommend it. The Daphne Project by Jackie Lentz. So this is part cozy fiction, found family, and part cozy mystery, and it delivers. I loved this. This is a debut. I talked about it in my ARC reading vlog. Our main character is Daphne. She inherits this home from her aunt, who she only really knew through one summer. They had this amazing summer where she went out and visited as a child, but she never got the chance to again, and she's kind of learned more about that. So she's there, she's planning on putting the house up for sale, cleaning it up, and she's at just like a tough point in life where like her relationship's fallen through, she's out of work, she's a librarian by nature, that's her training. Very bookish, lots of fun bookish references, and I love this. So this is a story about her coming to terms, kind of like a coming of age story, even though she's closer to 30. But I like that. I like that. I feel like a lot of people can feel lost at any point in life, and this one really addresses that. And this is like about her working on herself as a project. And the mystery element is that we're not sure if her aunt actually had a heart attack. Was it something else? And Daphne is looking into that. So she is poking her nose all around while trying to make a home for herself in this small town. And that has mixed results. And I really liked it. I flew through this. I thought this was great. I loved her new friend, Betty. Betty had such personality and spunk, and I loved her. I love her so much. But I would highly recommend this. It made me tear up, it made me angry, it made me sad, it made me happy, it made me feel like every emotion. I really, really enjoyed this. The other one I read in that ARC reading vlog was Whiskey Business by Adrienne Andover. This is also a debut, and this is part of the Mixology Lounge mystery series. Mixology Lounge is called Subplot because it's like a literature themed one, which is amazing. Our main character in this is Reese, and he is also kind of going through some things in his life. He's recently broken off with his fiancée. He's trying to come to terms with who he is and what he wants in life, and he's trying to get his business off the ground. And they have a whiskey tasting there with like a little club that meets, and then after that a body is found near his building, and he and some of the business owners there are a suspect because of the close proximity, and he gets involved trying to solve the case. I really loved Reese as a character. He was very relatable in so many ways. I'm not someone who drinks, but I found the lounge setting so fun. The mixed drinks had all these creative names, which just made it so fun. I loved all the bookish references throughout this book, and the ending, the mystery for this, ooh, it was good. It was really good. So I'm very much looking forward to more from this author, as well as Jackie Lentz. These were two, like, I honestly can't, I said this in my ARC vlog, but I still can't believe these are both debut authors. I'm like, you guys are killing it. Next I have Death Takes Priority by Jean Flowers. This one has been on my TBR for a while. It is a post-mistress cozy mystery. It takes place in the autumn. Our main character is Cassie Miller. She returns to the small town. She has recently been dumped by her fiance. She's been caring for her dying aunt. She's having a rough spot in life, like many cozy mystery sleuths here, and she becomes a small-time postmistress here. And I say small time because she was working for like a huge post office in the city before this. So some people in her life are looking at her like, what are you doing, girl? But she goes about her day. I loved all the details about the post office, the mail sorting, the delivery, the weird requests from customers. That made it for me. I thought that was so interesting. I gave this 3.5 stars. The only reason why was because I didn't find Cassie that likable. I don't know, I just didn't love her. I thought she was okay. I just didn't really connect with her. I found her a little abrasive or just dense at times, but overall I liked the mystery itself. There's disappearing phone books from the post office, which was really fun. I loved the theme, and the autumn setting was really cozy. So I'm still planning on continuing this series. This is a complete series. There's only 3 books in it. I'm hoping I'll connect a little more with Cassie in the next book, because I don't know. I just wanted I wanted to like her a little more, or connect with her, but I just didn't quite get there. So, but like I said, the theme for this and the plot really carried it, so I'm looking forward to continuing it nonetheless. Another new to me series, I had a lot of new series this month. Live or Let Die by Liz Lipperman. This is the first in the Clueless Cook mystery. This was so fun. Our main character is Jordan, and she dreams of becoming a sports reporter, but she gets the opportunity to write a food column instead. And she takes it because she's trying to move up in the world in the news office. But the thing is that based on the mystery title, she's a clueless cook. She can't even, like, she can barely make boxed mac and cheese. She really does not know how to cook. And she's supposed to be sharing these recipes, and it's stressful. Well, she goes out one night as a food critic. She's going to this restaurant, a really nice like steakhouse, the Longhorn, and while she's there, she meets some people, including a waiter who is later found dead, and Jordan gets involved in the mystery. I thought this was so fun. I loved the newsroom elements. There were still some sporty elements because she's a big fan of sports, of course. The clueless cook part was hysterical. I found that to be fun, and this one actually surprised me with a lot of found family. I feel like I'm using that so often, but I really do go for books with that theme. In her apartment building, they get together, they have these like group, like social get-togethers, and they're just so many endearing people in her apartment building who I really liked. I'm working on a found family recommendations video in the future, and this is definitely one that will make that list. Also, if you're looking for a unique pet, she actually has a fish, so this one had a little bit of a unique not dog or cat situation going on. And this one, what I liked the most, I think, about this is the humorous writing style. It was just funny. Like, it just made me laugh. I really enjoyed the writing style for this. Jordan is just a hoot. Very relatable, very funny, and I really enjoyed that. Tuesday Night Survivors Club by Lynn Cahoon. This is the first in the Survivors Book Club mystery series. This does have a little bit more of a serious topic, but I didn't find it to be overly heavy. The premise for this is it takes place in Sedona, Arizona, which I thought was really fun because I live in Arizona and I've been to Sedona. But the main character runs a bookshop, and she decides to, because she is a breast cancer survivor, to open this book club for other cancer survivors. So that is the heavier topic, of course. Now, these are all women who have survived cancer, and they start to meet. One of them is murdered, and the rest of them bond together to try to solve the other member's murder, basically. I really liked this. I listened to this on audio. I thought it had a good premise. I'd give it like a 3.75 or so. I plan on continuing the series. I liked the bookshop elements. I thought the book club was very fascinating, and it was interesting to hear someone who has not survived something like terrible like that. It was really interesting and inspiring to see these women and what they're doing with their lives, and just the way they approach life now that they have survived something like that, just to see how they live life to the fullest. I really liked that theme throughout the book, and the mystery itself was really solid. The Accidental Alchemist by Gigi Pandian. This was amazing, and if you like an audiobook, I would listen to this on audio. It was really fun. Our main character in this is Zoe Faust. She is an alchemist, and this takes place in the normal world with just this like hint of kind of magic. She moves to Oregon and she's trying to restart her life, and this gargoyle, Dorian, who I adore, shows up and he needs her help desperately to kind of decipher with her alchemy skills this text to help him out. And while she's there, she's trying to renovate her home and someone's found murdered in her home. This was so fun. There is a lot of heartwarming scenes in this because of the way she gets involved with some of the neighbors in the area. I liked Zoe as a character. I think she was really kick butt. I thought she was a fun, relatable character, and it's so interesting to hear her just like casually be thinking to herself about, oh yeah, you know, this time in the 1800s or something, because as an alchemist she has a very long lifespan because of some of the alchemy she's done in the past, but she's no longer actively practicing because of something that's also happened in the past that you get to learn about. I thought this was so fun. I thought it was just like whimsical and fun. A lot of history was integrated into this, which is something I really appreciate about Gigi Pandian's writing in general. I think that is so fascinating. Loved Zoe and Dorian especially. I thought, oh, it was so fun. I loved it. Dorian is like a French chef gargoyle too, so he's always cooking up these amazing French food, and I'm just sitting there like, this sounds amazing. I need to learn some French cuisine, and it's so fascinating to hear them just casually be like, oh yeah, I remember this time and, you know, 1600s when this happened, because they both have lived very long lives, and I found that to be fascinating. I liked her trying to like, you know, hide her alchemy from the world. She's trying to present like a normal front because people would have mixed reactions to her being an alchemist that wouldn't go over well with everyone, and yeah, I really enjoyed it. Last but not least, we have Tightening the Threads by Leah Waite. This was so fun. This was a 4th of July cozy mystery, and I'm really falling in love with the Mainly Needlepoint mystery series. Our main character in this is Angie, and she is kind of the manager of this Mainly Needlepoint group, helping them to sell and profit with their things. Her grandmother kind of started it. She's kind of the business head of it. She's just getting into it herself. And her friend in this, Sarah, is an antiques dealer from Australia, and she's trying to find out secrets from her past, who her family is. And when she's finally found the family she's related to, they happen to be this very wealthy, influential family, and she's invited to this big birthday dinner for the patriarch, and she invites Angie along as a friend because she's going to be introduced to the rest of the family. She doesn't know anyone. She's pretty terrified, understandably, and then someone is murdered. It's very much like a closed mystery because you have just like the family on the premises and some friends, so it's very small, like locked room kind of mystery, which I love, and this one was so good. Alright, and on to thrillers. Here we go. We have quite a stack and some that I read in an ebook. Oh goodness. Okay, for starters, this is marketed as a thriller, and maybe romantic suspense. This is called Dark Water Rising by Sharon Sala. Yeah, it says thriller on the back and on the front, and I disagree. So in this one we have Sam and Haley. They were a married couple who unfortunately divorced after they had to bury their young son together. Very big tragedy. They just didn't make it through that. But Sam had told Haley, you know, if you ever need me, feel free to reach out. So Haley is like a real estate agent, and she goes to start to get this house ready to show when this hurricane hits. And at the same time, there are 2 prisoners who've escaped. And of course she has like an encounter with them. She calls Sam, she's desperate for help, she's trapped in this home, and he goes out to try to rescue her. Basic premise. This was so heavy on the romance. I was like, this should really be marketed as a romance with suspense or romantic suspense. This was not a thriller. I was bored. I stopped reading after 72 pages. That's how far I made it in. So that, if you're looking for a thriller, I wouldn't say that was a thriller. Or it was just very heavy on the romance, and like Haley and Sam, maybe they're gonna come back together after this, and like I just was like, I don't care about their relationship. Like, I'm sorry, I don't care. I just want some twists and fun and like mystery. I don't really care about if they get together or not. And it just kept talking about that and talking about that, and I was like, okay. So that was not a win, clearly. One that was a win was The Liar's Girl by Catherine Ryan Howard. Now, I adore The Trap and The Nothing Man, so I was like, why am I not picking up more books from this author? So I grabbed one this month, and this was great. So this is about Allison, who was a freshman at this college, and she was dating a man named Will, who's very charismatic, and he turns out to be a serial killer. He's like called the Canal Killer because all these bodies are found near in the canal. He is behind bars, and we are reading now in the modern day. Years have passed, like a decade has passed. Allison is trying to get her life together, and she's approached by a detective because similar killings have started to happen. So they're trying to figure out what's happened, and Allison is going to go back to try to talk to Will, who says he has more information, but he'll only tell her. I liked this a lot. I thought this was a strong read. I'd say 4 stars. This one was an earlier book than The Nothing Man and The Trap, and I feel like you can, tell that she's kind of feeling out her writing a bit with this one, and she has it's like close, it's really good, but she's definitely like, her future books are even better in my opinion. But this was a really fun read. It was compulsive. I couldn't put it down. I really liked Allison as a character. You're getting to read snippets from the past because one of the people Will kills as well is actually her best friend and roommate, which was a really devastating blow that she hasn't recovered. So you're kind of going along with her as she's trying to process this and come to terms with, did Will actually kill her? Like, was Will falsely imprisoned all these years? Did he have an accomplice? Is this a copycat? That kind of a situation. And I really enjoy a story like this. So I had a grand old time with this. I read it very quickly and very much enjoyed it. Then I did a vlog with Lexi, and I will link it above from Books with Lexi, and she picked 3 thrillers for me out. 1 that she didn't like and 2 that she really liked. And I will link it above if you want my full thoughts, but I'll do a quick run through of my reviews. The Chamber by Will Dean. I did not like this. There was so much jargon. The ending was really ambiguous. Basically, these divers are put into this chamber that can only be like slowly brought up from the surface because of this, like the pressure and stuff, and they're checking on like this oil thing down there. Yeah, I kind of zonked out with some of the jargon. But someone is murdered down there, and they are in this confined chamber. They are trapped. They cannot come out that fast. They know it's one of them who's done it because it's only them. There's no access from the outside world, and they start to be paranoid. Yeah, no. This is the one Lexi didn't enjoy either. I thought this would be so high pressure and tense because you are locked in this small chamber that's like the size of a bedroom with 6 people and someone's been murdered. I mean, that is a tense setting, but I was so bored, and the ending, I was just like, wait, what? Like, what happened? I was like, okay, I read all this and I'm still not sure what happened. Okay, anyways, check out the vlog if you want my full thoughts. I also read Appetite for Innocence by Lucinda Berry. This was my first Lucinda Berry. She's been on my radar. This was dark. This was very heavy, but it was, I think, very well written, and I was very intrigued and fascinated by this storyline. So we have Ella and Sarah, who are 2 girls, the only 2 girls who have escaped from this serial kidnapper. He continually kidnaps teen girls, specifically ones who he looks at as pure, and they are locked away in a basement. They're groomed, and you're reading from dual perspectives from both Ella and Sarah, and you're reading from the past and the present. So you're reading about their time in the basement, what horrible things they are going through, and then you're reading about how they've escaped from this. So now they're in the hospital, they're being questioned, interrogated, and they don't know where the man who captured them is, and it looks like they're keeping secrets. So I found this to be very good. It's definitely, it's like a slower burn. It's not like a fast, twisty kind of thriller, but it's a really emotionally hard-hitting, suspenseful read that just leaves you going, wow. And just the ending and just the way that these 2 girls react differently to the horrible situations they've been through is really fascinating. So if you like a psychological, like kind of thinker thriller, I think this one really makes you think, which I enjoyed. Then I have Reckless Girls by Rachel Hawkins. I didn't love this. I gave it like 2.5 stars. I've read other Rachel Hawkins and really enjoyed it, like The Heiress I really liked. I liked The Villa. But this one, we basically have like a 6 people who end up on this island together from various different, ways they end up on the island, and one by one people start to die. Great premise. I really enjoy this type of premise where, like, locked mystery, people are dying one by one, who's doing it, very high stakes, but somehow this book still managed to be kind of boring. And it also just had so much drama. It felt like a teenage drama, even though these were adults. And the ending was just kind of like, I was just like, you know, there seems to be some holes in this plot that and I know suspending disbelief I'm okay with for some things if it's high entertainment, but this I was just so not impressed. Again, you can watch that vlog for even more thoughts, but it was not a favorite. What was a favorite was Some Choose Darkness by Charlie Donlea. Oh, this author quickly becoming a favorite. This is one of his older books. I'm still waiting for Guess Again, which is this new release to come in for me. Our main character is Rory, and she is a forensic reconstructionist, which is fascinating. She basically reconstructs old crime scenes and like the days leading up to them to try to help solve cold cases, and she's exceptionally good at what she does. She's a consultant. She is very good. She is looking at this old case that took place in the summer of 1979 where 5 women went missing, including Angela, who she will be reconstructing her last days of. And this predator is behind bars thanks to Angela's work, even though she was looked at at the time as kind of crazy. This predator named the Thief is about to be paroled, and Rory is actually on his parole case, even though she doesn't work as a lawyer usually because her father, the lawyer, has passed away. She inherits this case, and she's looking at it and she's going, there seems to be some things missing. She becomes fascinated with Angela, whose body was never found, and she's just going, she becomes more and more like linked to her. There seems to be a lot of similarities between them, and it's just fascinating. You get to read about Angela from her perspective in the 1970s, which I loved. I think her timeline was my favorite, even though I really liked Rory as well. The ending for this was so satisfying. So as she starts to reconstruct this crime, she finds dark truths about her father, the thief, like all these different things that maybe the police missed out on the first time, and a lot about herself as well. And just the concept of some choose darkness and how darkness can be a choice, which I found fascinating. So this is one I would really recommend. These Toxic Things by Rachel Housel Hall. I liked this a lot. I'd say it was a 4-star read for me. I feel like if you're a voracious thriller reader, you're probably gonna call some things pretty early like I did, but I was just along for the ride and I was enjoying it. Now I will say the main character, she made some really dumb choices at times where I was just like screaming in my head like, please don't do this to yourself. So our main character is Mickey Lambert. She creates digital scrapbooks and like archives for her clients. It's very like high tech. She basically takes their personal items that are the most prized or significant or sentimental for one reason or another, and she writes short stories of their memories associated with those items, so they have a digital scrapbook of them. So she does this for clients who are terminally ill, or maybe they're losing their memory, or maybe they want something to pass on to the next generation. And she's working with this woman named Natalia, who owns like kind of an antique store situation. And Natalia dies from possibly hurting herself, it seems, and Mickey continues the project anyways because she's already been paid for it. She thinks the family might want it, but she starts to discover some really weird things, and she's getting threats to stop the project. Of course she doesn't. She starts to dig into it. My favorite part about this is that you get to read Mickey's kind of what she's writing about each item. So there's like I think 10 items or so that she does this throughout the book, and each of those was fascinating. And there's just questions about how did Natalia actually come to possess some of these items that she can no longer ask her because she's no longer around. And I just found this interesting. Was it the most like fast-paced thriller? No, but was it just entertaining and interesting and unique? Yes. So I feel like this will be very hit or miss for people, but I gave it 4 stars. I had a good time with it. Fallen by Karen Slaughter. This was a soft DNF for me. I just realized that this was not my type of thriller. This was very much like more of a police procedural kind of crime one, and it didn't have a real, I don't know, I just wasn't really getting into it, but it's not because the writing wasn't good or the plot. I just didn't care for this type of thriller. So this is the Will Trent series, and I'm probably not going to dive into it, but I will look at some of this author's other works because I have liked those. But this one I just wasn't really connecting with Will. The story was fine, but it just seemed like it was more about like organized crime, and I'm not really interested in that type of crime as much. I'm more interested in like personal crimes and vendettas and things like that in my thrillers. I found that to be more interesting personally. No One Saw by Beverly Long. Speaking of, this is one I actually did like that was more of a police one. This one involves, we have A.L. McKitteridge, who is a police department detective. This is actually a series. I think this is the 2nd book in it. But basically this young girl is dropped off at her daycare by her grandmother, and no one sees her go missing. Like nobody. The daycare workers claimed they hadn't seen her. The grandmother like dropped her off. Like, this girl goes missing. Nobody can find her. This was really gripping because I was just on the edge of my seat wanting to know what happened to this kid. They're interviewing the parents. They're talking to the daycare workers. They're going through like everything, and I found the interviews and the process and the way they worked back through the crime very interesting. And for me, this was more of like an interesting crime that felt more like personal because you're reading the family's responses and reactions and what's going on. And the family that the girl's kidnapped from has a lot of secrets, and they are uncovering this during the investigation, and it was fascinating. I found this really good. Like, again, a little more of a slow burn kind of mystery thriller situation, but if you enjoy one that's from a detective's perspective, but you want it to have a little bit more of that emotion tied to it like I do, this is one I really like. The House Sitter by Carrie Beavis, I DNF'd this. It was really fast paced at first, but basically it kind of just crumbled and I was bored. We have our main character, she is pet sitting and like house sitting for her brother in this like really nice luxury apartment, and one night the power goes out. She is looking across the way at a place where the power is still on, and she witnesses this man with a woman who then, the woman then goes missing later. So she reports it to the police, but they can't find anything wrong. And this is normally up my alley. This sounds like a great premise. I'm really excited and interested in this kind of mystery, but nothing was happening. I was like at 43% and I was like, okay, like I am just bored. Like, I want something to happen here. It felt very repetitive and kind of stale to me. If you have other Carrie Beavis recommendations, let me know, because I realized when I put my review up that this actually has lower ratings than most of her work. So if you have a favorite from her, let me know. I'm really interested in The Summer House. That one looks really interesting to me, but this one just wasn't it for me. The Tutor by Courtney Stack. I loved this. This was a 5-star thriller for me. We get to read from multiple perspectives, 3 different women, a mother-in-law, the daughter-in-law to the mother-in-law, and then the tutor, Isabel. And Isabel is infiltrating this really nice home because the daughter-in-law and her husband and son have moved in with the mother-in-law, who is ailing. She's elderly, she's struggling with her health. The mother-in-law really seems to hate the daughter-in-law, but you don't know why. The daughter-in-law is trying to settle into her marriage. She's been married for like a year. She's got her teen son with her, and Isabel starts to tutor the son, but she's not there for the reasons that you would suspect, and there's a reason. She's specifically trying to get into this family's lives. I was on the edge of my seat. I flew through this, multiple perspectives, very fun, very twisty, fast-paced, surprised me in multiple ways. I really enjoyed this and recommend it. Then I also read Mother Knows Best by J.A. Baker. This was good. I don't think it was like it was solid. I'm gonna say like 3.5 stars for me. This one is about a mother who thinks she knows best. She has 2 daughters. She's got her older one who is more put together. She has kids. She's having some issues with her romantic life. I think she's like kicked her husband out, but she's, you know, mostly there, like in terms of functioning, and she's mostly doing okay. She babysits for the kids a lot, and she's got her younger daughter who is unfortunately on the streets. She is struggling with substance abuse, so warning for that. It is difficult to read, and she is trying desperately to get her daughter off the streets. She's done this, you know, many times over. She's been trying to. And then girls start to disappear. Young women and girls start to disappear on the streets, and she is worried about her daughter's safety. And then she gets this sinking feeling that the danger is actually closer to home than she expects. So this is a lot about family secrets. If you like a psychological family domestic thriller, this one definitely provided that, and I thought it was good. You also are reading from this person's perspective from childhood, who you kind of are learning about through the book, and their very rough childhood, and you kind of suspect certain things throughout that, which I thought added a different perspective that was quite interesting. So overall, I'd say like 3.75 stars. I enjoyed it. I'm definitely curious about more from this author. Night Watcher by Daphne Woolscroft. This is a really fun podcast type thriller. Our main character runs a radio show in Oregon, and it's like, I don't know quite what to describe it as, but it's kind of like a conspiracy theory, UFO, true crime mixture. People call in, and one night someone calls in with a very eerie call that is reminiscent of the main character's childhood, where she escaped the hiding man, who is a serial killer in this area. And this was fascinating. This, for me at least, if you're like a true on, like full-on horror reader, this probably won't be intense enough for you, but if you like thrills, this one made me feel very paranoid. The main character starts to get increasingly paranoid and freaked out for good reason. This hiding man seems to be back, and it is gripping. I was on the edge of my seat Could not put it down personally. And Nola is the main character. She basically takes it in her own hands to find this killer who she believes is resurfacing after all these years and is out to get her because she was the only one who's known to escape. Oh, it was so good. I was really, really gripped. I couldn't put it down. I was terrified. This was a really good, like, edge of your seat type thriller. Our Last Resort, I was really disappointed by this book. I loved their last book, their first release, but this one was about two siblings who survived some kind of cult, and they are meeting for the first time in many years. They're at this resort together. They're trying to reconnect. There's some things in their lives going on in the present as adults, and you're also reading from the past about their time in the cult, or this very closed society. I don't know if cult is actually used, but that's what it was giving me vibes. I DNF'd this. I was really disappointed. I personally think cults are very interesting in fiction, not in reality of course, but I do find them to be very fascinating, just the psychology behind it. But somehow the scenes from their childhood bored me to tears. While they're at the resort, someone is murdered and her brother, the main character's brother, is suspected of the murder, so she's working to clear his name. That's kind of the present timeline storyline. I don't know. It was just fine. I just wasn't that interested, and I was really disappointed because I loved The Quiet Tenant so much, and this one just didn't hit the same level. It felt kind of rushed in some ways. I just didn't love it, and I was just really bummed out about that. Anyways, guys, that is the last thriller I have to talk about. Thank you guys for listening to this long-winded wrap-up. Let me know, what was your favorite book you read last month? Have you read any of the ones I talked about? Have any of them been hits or misses for you? I would love to know your opinion, even if it's different than mine. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I do post new content every week on my channel, especially within the mystery genre. So if you're a mystery lover, whether that's cozy mysteries, murder mysteries, thrillers, I talk about it here. My name's Amy Marie. Thank you for joining me and spending some time with me today, and I'll see you guys soon.